Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be answering some cat questions. I get a lot of these every day and I try to be as helpful as I possibly can. So this is just going to be, sorry, it's like really hard. This is going to be from my experiences and like what we do. So this doesn't work for all cats, just like certain things don't work for all humans. It's kind of the same. So this is going to be what I have learned from having 5 cats, what we've tried, hasn't worked, everything. So just disclaimer, just what worked for us. I promise it won't work for everybody. All right, so the first, I'll just try to run through these as quickly as I can. So someone asked, do you cut their nails? I am strongly against cutting cats' nails and declawing. I think it's the most inhumane thing you can do to an animal. It's like ripping off your fingernails. Not nice. And if you trim their nails, they're gonna spend most of their day trying to resharpen them on your furniture. So I've never cut our cat's nails and nobody messes with the furniture. So I don't know if they're related, but that's just my opinion. I don't do it and nobody messes with our furniture. Are the cats indoor or outdoor? Our cats are all strictly indoor except for when we take them on walks. The reason being, I had a cat growing up that was outdoor, indoor, and he got in fights. He almost died multiple times. And where we live, there's coyotes everywhere. So I don't personally feel safe. And we're right by a road. So like they could die so many different ways. And I just don't feel comfortable with it. So that's just my opinion. So I'm not really good at outdoor advice because my one growing up, he was like indoor, outdoor when we got him. So I don't know how to make them an outdoor cat. Peeing outside of the litter box or on your bed. So my experience with this, when I first got Ollie in college, he was my first cat and he was super codependent on me because I rescued him and he kind of acted like I was like his wife or his mom. So anytime I left for a long period of time, he would get really mad at me for being gone and he would pee to like punish me. So if I was home all the time, never did it. I've never actually physically seen him do it. He did it whenever I was gone because I was gone for too long or a couple days or something like that. So, and he still does that to this day. If we're gone, he'll poop outside the litter box to punish us. So that can be a reason. They could have a bladder infection. They could not like sharing the litter box with other cats. He'll do it if he doesn't like the type of litter that we're using. So now we have a kind that he likes, and so that's like his litter box, which I guess I can transition into how many litter boxes you should have. I've read that it's 1.5 litter boxes to every 1 cat. So technically like 1.5. So if you have 2 cats, you should have 3 litter boxes. We have 4 litter boxes and 5 cats. And the reason being the kittens like to share one. And then Cleo also likes a certain kind of litter. So she has her own. So that's really fun. I have to buy 2 different kinds of litter. And we try, I'll just say the one thing that helps with the smell in the house is we dump the entire litter box every like 3 or 4 days, just to kind of get everything out of it. So that has seemed to really help, and cleaning them out every day obviously will help. And I have a lot of candles. I spray Febreze every day, and we have like cleaners that come every other week or every 2 weeks. So that helps a lot with deep cleaning. Essentials when you get a new cat. I would definitely say toys, scratching posts. I'm very, very adamant on having a lot of scratching posts in the house. We have 5 cat towers, I think, or 4 cat towers. And so I give them a lot of things to play with and to scratch on that aren't the furniture. I think that's the number one key, is to have a lot of scratching posts, cat towers, anything that they're allowed to scratch on, then it keeps them off your furniture, and to have a lot of it. Because if you just have 1 and 5 have to share it, they're not going to do it. So we have a lot. So that's basically how to keep them off your furniture. Some people were asking about them biting. They're like, the cats are biting you. So again, I'm not like some perfect cat owner, but I will say I've been very strict on biting, scratching, or cats like, you know how like cats will all of a sudden get in a mood and like bite you for no reason? None of ours do that. And this is why I think that is. Ever since, I had 3 before I met Blake. So ever since I got one, if they would bite me once, I would be like, no. And I would hit their nose really hard. And then they would kind of be like, okay. You kind of have to assert your dominance with them. And some cats, I don't know if that'll work. But for 5 of them so far, it's worked. So you assert your dominance, you tell them no, and you do it right away. You don't punish them in a minute. You do it immediately right when they're doing it. And then I've always had a lot of toys around the house. So everything that, like, you don't play with your cat with your hand, because then they're thinking, oh, that's my toy. If you play with a stick and then a rope and then the toy, then they associate that as the toy. Hands are for petting. So it sounds easy, but it's hard to do, because even I sometimes want to play with the cats with my hands, but that's how you get bit. That's how you let them know, basically, that like, oh, you can bite this because I'm playing with you. So don't use your hands as toys. Don't use your feet as toys. Use toys as toys. That's like the easiest way to keep them from biting and scratching you and punishing. Honestly, like, punishing is the number one thing that has made our cats like super sweet, because they just know that that's not allowed in this house, and then they don't do it. All right, another big topic that I get asked a lot is how to introduce cats. So there's a million different ways to do this, and I've done a bunch of the ways. So when I first got Ollie, I had him for like 3 years, and he's the only male. So then I got Cleo next, and Cleo was a rescue from a shelter. She was like beaten. She had been through a lot. So when I got her, I didn't really know what to expect, and Ollie kind of didn't care when I brought her in the house. I kept her in a different room for about 2 days so they could smell each other, and then Cleo, now that I know Cleo, she just keeps to herself and doesn't care about anyone. So they were kind of fine. And then I got Lucy next, and Lucy was 3 years old when I got her, and she was already living in a house with a lot of animals. So she like had no problem integrating. And since she was a female and Ollie was a male and they were around the same age, I think that's why they really meshed easily. Like, they didn't hiss, they didn't fight or anything. And then Cleo can't see anybody, and she's partly blind, so she kind of didn't care as well. So Lucy literally walked right in the house and plopped on the couch like, this is my house. So didn't have a problem with that. So then now that they're all a big amount or a couple years older than the kitten, so I had never had a kitten before. So we got Luna, Blake and I got Luna, and she was 3 months old when we got her. I didn't have a lot of experience with kittens, so we got her and put her in the room, and then we let each cat kind of like smell around, and then they kind of, introduce themselves to her. And I think this is where we went wrong, because to this day, Lucy still hates Luna. Like, she'll hiss at her, and it's just how it is. And I think the reason why is because Lucy is like the woman of the house and Ollie is her man. So I think she's defending Ollie and kind of asserting her dominance. So she just doesn't like Luna because of that first interaction that we had. It just wasn't good. So about a year later, we got Biscuit. And I was really worried, but Biscuit and Luna are only a year apart. So we had better odds of them getting along. So we introduced Luna first to kind of like show her like, this is your friend. And she hissed, she kind of hit her, but that's a way of them asserting their dominance. If they start like that, not good, like separate them. So she didn't do any of that. So we knew that we had potential for them to like get along. And honestly, like after 4 and 5 cats, Lucy kind of didn't care anymore. Like, everyone was kind of fine with Biscuit. It was just Luna we were worried, because we didn't want to have another cat and have them not get along. So they ended up, after about 2 days, getting along. We separate them at night. We kept Biscuit in a different room, and everyone else could still do their normal thing. I think the bad thing to do would be to separate your cats, like if they sleep with you at night and then you keep the kitten with you and kick everyone out. That's going to make them pissed off. So let the kitten be separate and then get used to the smells of the house. Let them be in the house for a couple days and to start to smell like your house, and then the cats will associate them with like, okay, like they belong here. Whereas if they smell like whatever house they came from, they're gonna be like, no. So anyways, I could go on about that forever, but Google articles and see what will work best for your cat. I will say though, for introducing and bringing new cats into your house, it's definitely good to have them in similar age, within like a year apart from each other, because I feel like it's just a personality thing. Like, you wouldn't put a teenager and a toddler in the same room and expect them to be best friends. It does happen, but I feel like, think of them like people. Like, would an adult and a teenager just like be best friends immediately? No, like, you need to, introduce them, and a lot of the times it's not gonna like be great. So eventually though they do become civil for the sake of like you, and they'll be fine. So like, Lucy and Luna can sit in the same room and be fine, but like, they're not gonna cuddle. So Anyways, all right. Do we give them baths? I do not give cat baths because I tried that once with Ollie when he pooped all over himself once, and I thought he was gonna like tear my skin off. So cats clean themselves for the most part. Besides Cleo, she's not very good at cleaning herself, so I do brush her and cut out like dreadlocks and stuff. So you can bathe them, but Lord be with you because I will not do that. They don't like water, and they clean themselves for the most part. So you can brush them. You can get a wet washcloth and do that if you feel comfortable, but most cats don't. So I don't give them baths. Disciplining, I kind of went over. I tap them, you know, like a little tap on the nose, and that's enough for them to be like, whoa. And I say no, but I like this is gonna be too much, but I go, no, you don't do that. Like even everyone right now is like, so now I don't even have to like tap their nose. If I just say no really deep and really like firm, everyone in the house knows someone's in trouble because that's just how they associated like being punished. So now you don't have to physically like do anything, and they know when they're doing something wrong. So that's just the only way I've known how to punish an animal without like, you know, being too crazy. It gets the point across, and I associate a word with a feeling, so now I just have to say the word. Fleas, our cats don't go outside, so they don't get fleas, so I don't really know much about that. I have allergies, very, very bad allergies to cats. So the only way I would say that I deal with it is I take allergy medicine sometimes, but for the most part, I get acclimated to having them around me. So if I go on a trip for a couple weeks and I come home, I'm pretty much sneezing for a couple days. But I just don't touch my eyes, and I wash my hands all the time, and we clean a lot. So it's like the only advice I really have. And another one was they're obsessive over their toys. So this is another thing. It's like having a bunch of kids. You can't give them one toy and expect all of them to share it. So we have like 5 of every toy just in case somebody, you know, and they all end up picking one and they all end up wanting the same one, but they have options. So, you know, you have to give them 7 toys for them to pick the one that they like, and then they end up switching their mind all the time. So I don't know, it sounds bad, but you have to not be stingy with your cat. So buy a bunch of cat toys, buy a bunch of cat towers, and it takes over your house, and it's not aesthetically pleasing, but it's better than having your furniture ruined and your cats fighting. Like we have cat towers all over this house, I think, except for in this room, because I don't want them messing up our furniture. So, you know, you got to pick, do you want a perfect house or do you want cats and to have them be happy and not destroy your stuff? That's kind of the trade-off, I think. But I don't know, if you guys have any more questions, let me know. I think that's pretty much all I had. Oh, the cat acne, I guess, was another one that all of them got it at one point, and I think the reason was because we were giving them a wet food, because we got Biscuit and she needed a wet food because that's what she was used to eating. And we started giving all of them it because they were fighting over her bowl. And I think that's what gave them acne, because the like juices from the wet food was sitting on their chins, and then it was irritating them, and they all got allergic reactions. For the most part, everyone's is gone except for Cleo's, and it's because hers is infected. And so, because she scratches it all the time, so hers isn't going away for that reason, and we're dealing with it. But yeah, it's another fun one to deal with. But I think that's about all the questions I could get through right now. If you guys have more, DM me. Like, feel free to honestly ask me any question. I will help to the best of my ability, and try to make a few more of these. I know getting new animals is really stressful for us too whenever we get new ones, but they make your life so much better. And rescue, don't buy breeding litters, you know, like get from an adoption, go to a shelter. I swear they're more grateful when you rescue them from you know, shelters and stuff like that, and they come with character. But yeah, that's all I have time for today. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.